Hey everybody. Uh, you know, usually this is um, catching up with the vampire with Lycidas Heathcliffe, but he's not here right now, and so it's just me breaking character a little bit. I'm the character, but the character's not here, so it's just me because I decided to put on the wig today. So, um, anyway, uh, I'm just gonna be me today. Steven. I'm Steven, obviously. That's my real name, and we're going to go with that today. But today, I have on someone who is, if you don't know this guy by now because of YouTube, and if you're a big nostalgia freak like I am for Kmart, um, you're going to know this guy. I'm here from YouTube, Mark Davis from YouTube. What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing, Steven? Thanks for having me on your podcast. Yeah, Kmart. Worked there 10 years, took a few cassettes, uploaded them, and now vaporware, vaporwave, all this stuff is like blowing up everywhere, and it's been a fun journey. Here to talk
No,
about that stuff.
uh, no, because of you saving all those tapes and all that stuff, it's like everyone's like, "Oh my god, someone actually kept them and didn't throw them in the garbage."
Yeah, it's like, some guy took the tapes for some reason, right?
Yeah,
Um, I have lots of collections. My friends will be like, Mark, you collect weird stuff. I mean, I've got garbage pail kids. I've got different cards, got different sets, different things, you name it. Music, audio, video. I'm kind of an archivist on stuff. And when I worked at Kmart, and I was like 16 years old, I'm like, these tapes are kind of interesting. Maybe someday they'll be even more interesting. So I ended up taking them and got like 54 of them. And finally, about 10 years ago, upload them to the Internet Archive, and then it just kind of went from there. It's like everyone's like, this is cool shit. It's cool stuff. It's not like crazy news. It's crazy in the sense that nobody ever thought they'd save tapes that were played at a retail store. It like opened up a whole genre of Americana. I mean, whoever would have just saved tapes from TJ Maxx or Walmart or the Gap or mall stores or big chain stores. But Kmart, because I worked there, I happened to keep them. I collected them.
you digitalized all of them, right? Like, all the ones that you have are all digitalized, right?
Yeah. I digitized them in like 2013, along with all my other cassettes and different media. And I didn't know what to do with them. I'm like, I'm going to digitize them to preserve them. I knew that the tapes weren't going to go bad. They weren't going to just disintegrate because I know a lot about magnetic media and it's a very stable media usually. But I'm like, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
digitize these so at least I have them digitized. Then the next question was, what do I do with them? How do I get out there? Because it's copyright, Kmart, are they going to come after me? Are they going to be frustrated? Am I going to piss someone else off? So, yeah, they're all digitized. And then that's when I started giving a couple out to people that were commenting on my video. They're like, man, I'd love to have a copy of this or that. So I started seeding and giving a couple out. And then that's where it's like everyone's like, we want more, we want more. And then that's when I reached out to the Internet Archive. They didn't give me any guidance. They just said, if it's copyright, it shouldn't be up there. But at the same time, they're preservation. They're like a library of media, digital. I'm like, what the heck? Let's just put them all out there. And they put them all out there. And then within a week or two, MTV, Spin Magazine, Vice Online, oh my God, Esquire Magazine, all these media outlets were just blowing up my Facebook feeds. And I was on Facebook at the time. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of cool. It's like, actually did an internet, I was able to accomplish something on the internet. It landed on my lap and I didn't even have to try to make a viral video or to make my name. It just kind of happened.
I'm sure there's some tapes, obviously, that you're missing. Probably tapes from before you started working there, and probably after you started working and after you left. I'm sure there's like tons of tapes you're still missing. But for people who who happen to collect the tapes after, before you and after you, if they have the ones that you're missing, they're probably not going to want to give them up unless you give them a high price.
Yeah. Um, I don't think anybody else has tapes. The cassettes. These are the cassettes. I've got a box of them here. And there's different ones because there's a couple different companies that did. These are all cassette tapes.
Yeah.
Before this, there were reel-to-reels. There's a couple reel-to-reels out there. In fact, there's one I uploaded, which somebody sent to me, a fan who had one. I digitized it and also uploaded it. But the interesting thing is there's vinyl records from the 50s and the 60s. Not the 50s, the 60s that were played. Somebody has all of them in their collection, and there's tons of vinyl out there from back in the 60s and like early 70s. It's crazy. But I don't know if anybody has the tapes I'm missing. I'd love to complete the collection, though. And if I could go back, I would have taken all the tapes that got chewed up because I just threw them out. Now I know how you could rewind. You could take them apart. You could unflatten them. And even though they may not play right, I could make a usable tape out of the tape that wasn't damaged. But a lot of those got thrown out. Or I didn't get my hands on them.
Since you have all the tapes, like literally right next to you, which one's your favorite one?
My favorite one is actually, it's called the 50th anniversary.
Oh,
and of course, because we're talking about, I'm not going to be able to find it right here. But it was like April 1992. There was a party that Kmart essentially had in the store because it was the 25th anniversary from 1962 when Kmart opened. And there was a tape that was played only one day in the store. And that particular tape, I was also able to save. And, it's part of the collection. And what's interesting is I can't find it. I think I probably put it in the other. Oh, here it is right here. This is it right here. It has its own little plastic case that came in. But this one here probably is not going to show up pretty clear, but this is the Kmart 50th anniversary program. This tape was only played one day in the store. It has a lot of oldies, a lot of fun facts, a lot of trivia about Kmart and its history and what life was back in 1962. That's my favorite tape. And my second favorite tape is October of '89, which is the month I started working in Kmart. And that's the tape that I took first. And that's what started the whole collection.
The July tape is probably one of my favorites.
There's a couple Julys, so there would probably been July of
92,
90, 91, and 92, if I have all of them. I actually have never typed out all of them, but I did a video like 2 months ago, kind of an update video where I laid them all out from the oldest to the newest. And I kind of walked through on YouTube, and I've had a couple people talk about that. But there's some July in there.
Yeah, I think July '92 is the one I think I like the most. The color of the tape is white. It's white, obviously, but I think the thing on there is like maroon color.
Yeah, a lot of people like the tape that corresponds with the month and the year they were born. I'm pretty old, so the fact is, I was working in 1992, but some folks weren't even born till 92 or even later or earlier. So when they see a tape from like 1992, they're like, "Yeah, that was the month I was born." So they play it, and you can hear about a toaster or a VCR in the electronics section, or maybe the Sega Genesis video game system. You hear those ads from back in the day that were between the songs.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool what you're doing with like for Kmart history, because like with the business with Kmart being like virtually gone at this point, you're like keeping it alive with your videos and your pictures and your music and as you wells with it. And I'm sure you have a bunch of audio. I mean, from your YouTube channel, from what I've seen, you have a bunch of audio equipment, which probably came from Kmart.
You know, of all things, I don't have any audio equipment from the stores. I know a lot about the audio that was in the stores because I actually worked at like 7 Kmart's over my time there,
Mm-hmm.
and never actually collected the audio. But there were different sound system setups. But the tapes just play on a regular cassette deck. So, whether you use a vintage deck, which I do from like 20, 30 years ago, or whether you go to Amazon and buy a new tape deck, these would play just fine. And they're stereo as well. Even though in the store it was mono. You only have one speaker, 50 speakers in the store, but these are actually recorded in stereo. A lot of them.
Are you the type of person where, like, since they're all digitalized and you don't have to, like, you don't, if you don't want to, you don't have to pull out the physical box of tapes. Do you just go, like, I'm just going to go on the Internet Archive and just play and just do that, just if you want to listen to them?
Yeah, sometimes, I haven't listened to them in a while. Um, what's funny is when I do listen to them, certain ones bring me back to the month and the year that I worked there. Like I kind of remember that because when you're on the sales floor and you're working an 8-hour shift and you hear the
Mm-hmm.
same tape probably play 16 times because it's 45 minutes per side and it flips over because it's a 90-minute tape. And then you
Mm-hmm.
work 4 or 5 days a week, or over the summer, I may have worked 40 hours. You kind of get to know the tapes. You get to know the announcements. Um, and so sometimes I'll throw one on and I'll listen to it, but not so much for casual listening. I am a music collector. I'm into all sorts of genres. You
Mm-hmm.
name it: oldies, punk, pop, hip hop, 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s. I even listen to stuff that's out now. So I just follow a lot of music and listen to everything. But yeah, once in a while, Kmart tape will go in.
Do you, um, how do I say it? So, like, do you, like, when you used to work there, right? And they were gonna pop the tape in for the week or the month or whatever. Were they ever like, all right, let's do tape duty?
Yeah, you know what? I don't think I ever had the honors of doing that. Because I used to work like an evening shift. I was always like the closer. I used to work like 5 to 10:30, or I'd work 1:30 to 10. On weekends, I was always the guy that worked late. I never wanted to be up at 7 o'clock to start at 8. So usually there was someone else. The manager would bring up a tape and say, "Okay, here's the new one. Pop it in," and then it would start playing. And then the old one, I told everybody who worked there to not throw them out. Just set them on top of the tape deck or back behind the cabinet. So if I wasn't working, all I had to do was come my next shift, open it up, pop it in my Kmart smock or my pocket, and it's now in the collection.
I'm pretty sure Kmart was still around. Like, if there was any stores left, I'm pretty sure it's just, the satellite. Like how it is today. They wouldn't have wouldn't have the company bringing in tapes anymore.
No, in fact, we went to satellite in like 2000 in 1992, late 92, or was it early 93? I'm forgetting here. But I mean, that was pretty early satellite delivery.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually over like the Direct TV network, the same type of satellite you'd get Direct TV on. There
Yeah.
was a Kmart channel that would bring down in-store programming that we'd watch as managers, different training sessions and things like that, and the CEO would talk. But then there was another channel of that was for the audio that just got piped into the store. So we had like Direct TV, and that's where the audio came from. But nowadays it's all internet. You stream it over
Yeah.
the internet. Whether you use Muzak or private company, I think Mood is another company. Mood. There's all sorts of different music streaming services. You just have a receiver. It's hooked up to the internet, and you don't even deal with satellite anymore.
Is the people who made those tapes still around? Are they still a company, or did they go bankrupt?
Yeah, Tower Sound and Communications. They're still around. I actually talked to the owner. It's like a small business, but and I actually spoke with him, and he was on another podcast. Actually, the guy that did the voiceovers from that company was on a podcast. Um, I think it was for NPR that I did maybe 2016 or 2015. It was a while ago. But it's funny because we were able to locate one of the voiceovers that did the ads. And then I also talked to the guy, the owner for Tower Sound and Communications. And they had lost the contract. They had no longer supplied tapes. The streaming was a completely different deal, different
Mm-hmm.
ads, different announcers. But we talked. And it's just kind of interesting because he's like, yeah, he says, I didn't even know we did the 50th anniversary tape. I'm sorry, the 25th anniversary tape. I go, really? I said, it has your name on it. He goes, I had no idea because he was younger and his father was part of the owner. And he's just like, yeah. He says, I'll pay you to transfer it if we could get it from you. I said, don't worry, it's already been transferred. It's already on the Internet Archive. So that's where all these are. People can download them. They remix them. Um, Lots of remixing, and some people remaster them. There's really good sound healing software that'll take something fuzzy that doesn't sound good, it'll make it sound great or much better.
Yeah.
Then there's the purists that will actually find each and every song, get good clear stereo fresh versions, and then put the ads in between and recreate the whole tape. And that's interesting because there's still a bunch of original songs that nobody was able to find. And so it's kind of like
Yeah.
the unobtainium list. Shazam or SoundHound won't find it. Nobody else knows who did this, so they have to use the copy that was on the tape. Probably some in-house band or orchestra or instrumental company.
Yeah, for me though, I mean, when I listen to these tapes, when I listen to the tapes myself, I haven't listened to a full one in a while, but like, it's the nostalgic person in me, or the nostalgic freak inside of me, where like, if I can't listen to it how it's presented to me, then like it doesn't hit the feels as much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
When I listen to the original way it's supposed to be done.
If you're purist, yeah, you'll pop it in and you'll hear it from the beginning. You're hearing it as it was.
Oh, and you were saying. No, you were saying Sega Genesis. It's funny because I have a Sega Genesis ornament right here.
Yeah. It's also called the Master System, depending on which country you're in. The Master System was the same as the Genesis. The Genesis was the American version. I'm into RetroPie and vintage gaming and arcade ROMs and stuff, so I do a lot of that. And classic consoles, I fix those and work on those as well. Yeah,
Are you a big gamer too? Like, do you consider yourself a gamer on your off time?
No, my kids game, it's more or less Roblox and like Minecraft and stuff like that. Different some games off of Steam. But no, I don't really game, but I like the classic games. Stuff from the 80s and 90s. I will play them sometimes. I'll either hook up an old classic system with the classic controller, or I use a RetroPie, Raspberry Pi system, which is kind of cool for gaming.
Yeah, you said kids. You say I can imagine with your kids. You played one of those tapes in front of them, and they go like, "Hey, kids, listen to this."
What the hell is this crap, right? Some people don't even know what a cassette is. I mean, it's like a VHS tape. But people don't even know what CDs are because nobody buys physical media. I'm a huge CD fan, and I also have vinyl and reel-to-reels and all sorts of eight tracks. I collect a little bit of everything, but a lot of people don't even know what a cassette is. I mean, how do you use it? How does it work? It's magnetic tape. But yeah, they think it's a little strange. Although they think it's strange, but at the same time, I think they think it's kind of cool. It's like, yeah, their dad has yet another interesting collection, one of which is the Kmart tapes.
Do your kids appreciate this older stuff since you have it all? Like, do they appreciate
Some
that
of them,
technology?
yeah, they do. My oldest son, who's really technical and electronic, he's thinks I have too much stuff. Like I collect stereo receivers, tape decks, equalizers, all sorts of stuff. And I have a YouTube channel, and I demo something every week, or I fix something, or I work on repairing things kind of as a hobby. My son will be like, "You've got 6 or 7 of these. Why don't you just get rid of the ones you don't like and keep one?" And it's like, I can't get rid of all of them. But I collect vintage audio and speakers and things like that.
What's your favorite piece of audio? What's your favorite piece of equipment that you have that you like the most?
My favorite would be the late 1970s, mid to late 70s. If you search for a Pioneer SX 1050 or an SX 1080 receiver, you're going to find these really good looking receivers. They're silver. They have the dial, lots of silver buttons. Those things were built like tanks. They're like 50, 60 pounds. Nowadays, people just play music on a Bluetooth speaker. That's cool. Or they use a sound bar for their TV. Or, they just have a basic system. I like having the separate components where you have a really cool classic stereo, you've got a tape deck, you've got an equalizer, you maybe have a reverb, maybe you have a CD player, you have a stack of components. And I continuously are swapping those out, and I fix them and put new rubber belts in them. So, but I would say 70s silver receivers. They're called monster receivers if you search for them. And they're quite collectible.
Yeah, because you have so much stuff. You have so much like audio equipment and all that stuff. It's pretty cool and all that. I have so many ways, Bluetooth wise and non Bluetooth wise, to listen to my music. Like the speakers from my own computer here can be Bluetooth. I have a Bluetooth speaker for my TV.
Yeah.
It like is a TV speaker that doubles as a Bluetooth speaker. Same with my computer things.
I mean, to think that my entire CD collection, which I've digitized my entire CD collection, I have over 1,500 CDs, most of which I bought at full price over the last several years. Some of them I bought used, some I picked up at garage sales. Others were inherited from people that threw their collections away. I've digitized all of them. And I can throw all of them onto a frickin' USB stick. And I can play it on my phone or on my TV. And to think that I don't need to have a whole stereo or a huge wall full of stuff is amazing. We didn't know back in, the late 1980s to the 1990s and the 2000s that digital music was going to be the way of things. Much like the way Netflix is how you get your Hulu, you get your programming. It's amazing. But I collect all that. I hold on to it. Some people throw it out, but I hold on to it.
And no, back in the '90s, it wasn't the phone the phone stick. It was where is it? It was this thing.
Yeah, floppy disk. That's a 1.44. And that didn't even hold half of an MP3. An MP3 couldn't fit on there. You'd have to use like a CD. You'd burn a disc. You'd burn a CD. And I remember those days in the 90s where you'd make a CD and every other one you'd burn didn't work. And then eventually the technology got better. But and there's appreciation. If you ever make somebody a mix, whether it's a friend or whatever, people don't appreciate what it was like before. Hand selecting the CDs, the tapes, and then copying them in real time, making a tape and hitting pause, doing the next song. By the time you spent 2 hours doing that, you gave that to someone. It meant something versus right now, I'm going to drag, hold control. I'm going to give you these 12 songs. Here, I'll email it to you or Dropbox it, whatever, or I'll just send you a playlist on Spotify. Here you go. When you actually make a mix and you spend the time doing it, it's much more meaningful. You think about it. Because I made lots of mixes, used to trade mixes with friends. But again, I can go down a rabbit hole on music because I really do like a lot of music.
Yeah, because I never had to do that personally, but I understand like you had like getting like a blank cassette tape, popping it in your radio, turning on your favorite radio station, waiting for that song that you like to be like, oh my god, here it comes. Hit record, let play.
That's how I did it. Okay, so I'm going to sound really old here, you guys. But in 1981, I had my first cassette recorder, and it was one of those little shoebox recorders. It didn't have a built-in radio. I put it down on the table next to a radio and turned the radio up, and it would go through the air into the microphone. So if someone banged something or someone started talking, you'd get that in the recording because you were recording through the air off of a radio. Then I got a boom box, and then the boom box would go direct, so then you wouldn't have to worry about people, and it sounded a lot better. And then we got a stereo, which then sounded really good. And then, when I got older, I continued recording that way. But yeah, making cassettes, those are some fun days. Nostalgia.
But yeah, but
back hundreds of cassettes I made. And they're all off the radio with radio jingles. I have a couple of radio jingles on my YouTube channel where I went through and I took all the radio jingles from 96.3 FM, WBBM, which before, it used to be Hot Hits, and then it went to B96 in the late 80s, early 90s, and then it was Killer B. I don't know what it is now. But anyways, WBBM FM was my station. It used to be top 40 music. And all the jingles and stuff they played, I had those on tape, and I made a compilation of all of them, not that long, maybe a couple of years ago, and threw them up on YouTube.
Yeah,
but you record off of radio.
Yeah, WBBM is still around, but now it's a news talk station.
Yeah, they're still on 96.3. There's WBBM AM and FM. AM is a news station. I think it's 780. And then the 96.3 is still, I think it's more R&B, progressive.
It's kind of like with WLS. 94.7 is the music side of it, and whatever the old call number was for the past is the talk side of it, news side of it.
Yeah, there was a WLS. There used to be WLS AM and FM. It was, and actually that's still the case. WLS is 890 AM or 94.7 FM, and the music is on the FM. The talk radio is on the AM. Mm-hmm. There's a couple stations like that.
Yeah, I listened to the music, the 94.7. That's the one I listen to a lot.
That's
now I'm listening to 93.9. It is 93.9. That's what I'm listening to right now because can you tell?
Christmas music. They started November 1st. I can't believe it. November 1st, the day after Halloween.
Hey, that's not a bad. To me, that's not a bad thing. But I mean,
yeah, I don't mind it. I like getting into the spirit. But I was just like, my gosh. Usually it's around Thanksgiving, but that started early this year.
I know that a lot of people are kind of like with the Christmas music, but like, what's your favorite? Do you have a favorite Christmas song, and do you like it when it comes on early, or are you one of those after
Christmas Canon by Trans-Siberian Orchestra?
Yeah,
that is you know the song.
Oh, I love that song.
It really only emerged in the last few years, even though I think it was recorded in the late '90s, if I'm not mistaken, or the 2000s. It's a great badass song. Really good song. And then I like a cheesy song by Paul McCartney, Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time, which has that keyboard. It's from like 1980. It's really whacked out synthesizer. It's like probably borderline annoying depending on who listens to it, but I just think it's an awesome song. But Trans-Siberian Orchestra, there's a bad thing that they do. And Trans-Siberian Orchestra is a metal band. A lot of the members came from Sabotage. Mm-hmm. And Sabotage was a really awesome heavy metal band in the 90s, which I listened to growing up in high school, and it's just awesome. So anyway, Sabotage went to Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and that's why I like their Christmas music.
Did you ever go see them at the Allstate?
No, I've seen a lot of concerts. Many concerts, but never saw Sabotage. And I never saw Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Would love to. The problem is they always play after 25th. For some reason, when they hit Chicago, it's always like the 28th. By the time
Yeah.
Christmas is rolled around, I've had enough of it, and it's just me. If they could do a concert right now, I'm in.
Then no, Mannheim Steamroller though they're coming. They for some reason Rosemont canceled them, and they're going to be in Joliet this year.
Interesting. Yeah, Manheim
So
Steamrollers is good too. To me, they have a little more dated of a sound. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it was really popular in the '80s, but and then into the '90s. But Mannheim Steamroller's good.
yeah, the close. Well, we're in the same. We live in the same area,
Yeah,
so like we're only an hour away from Milwaukee. So I mean, like they play if they play in Milwaukee, that's also very close.
yeah. No, I should check. I should check into that. I would love to see TSO. Oh my gosh, would I love to see that. I'd love to take my family. That'd be awesome.
Me too, but it's like getting tickets to go see them is like really expensive. It's not Disney World where you got to take out four house mortgages just to go there. But
Yeah, you know. Then you have a parking fee. Then you got a service charge. And you got a Ticketmaster fee, and let me tell you, back in the '90s, concerts didn't cost this much. They were cheap, and a lot of them included parking. They all said no crowd
mhm,
surfing on the ticket because everyone would crowd surf, and it was a big deal back in the metal days.
yeah,
But it was cheap. Nowadays, even the cheapest nosebleed seats can cost a lot. And AC/DC is coming to Soldier Field. Really
yeah.
considering going to see them. I saw AC/DC in 1991, but I just don't know if I want to spend like $500 for a ticket that isn't even in a good spot. I don't know.
But the thing is that you probably notice when you go to the Allstate in Rosemont. I mean, like people they don't want you to park in the Target parking lot, but everyone does anyway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
there's
the
there's that.
Allstate Arena, which used to be the Rosemont Horizon. We call it the Rosemont
Yeah.
Horizon. All the old folks like us, 'cause that's what it used to be for years.
I wasn't yeah, I mean, I was born in '93. I'm still the Horizon then, but like even though I wasn't like, you know, old enough to go there when it was called the Horizon, I
Hmm.
still call it the Horizon.
To me, it's the Rosemont Horizon, just like it's the Sears Tower downtown. It's not the Willis Tower; it's the Sears Tower. Ah,
Oh, and speaking of Sears Tower, right? So since you worked for Kmart and Sears were under the same umbrella, did you ever have to do anything with Sears?
no, you know what? That was a complete no because Sears bought Kmart in like 2002. Kmart was its own separate company before 2002. So Sears already
Hmm.
they were doing their own thing, and anything they did in the Sears Tower was before my time. And I think even Sears was probably out of the Sears Tower years before, because that's when they went to Hoffman Estates, and they were always in Hoffman Estates. And then when they bought Kmart, Kmart closed down the headquarters in Detroit, Michigan, and then everybody went to Hoffman Estates. And that's kind of the guy on the part.
Yeah, I mean, because I had a job interview at the Hoffman Estates headquarters, and I was always going to be like a janitor for like the conference room, and it was going to be like it would be really cool to be an employee at the Sears headquarters and be like, oh, I could get to see look behind the curtain. But then
Yeah.
I probably would have lost my job like a couple of months in because they went into bankruptcy and closed like I think like a year or two later.
Yeah. No, Sears and Kmart. They had the same customer base, but when they merged, it's like other companies that merged. It just didn't manage it well, and it never got better. It only got worse. I mean, a Kmart shopper and a Sears shopper. It was the same type of customer in '92. I mean, it was different than a Walmart customer. It was different than a Target. It was different than a Macy's or a Marshall Fields. So why couldn't they make it work? I have no idea because they really could have had it all if they were managed right. But
Do you
It's like a lot of other
do you
companies that
miss
merge. They all go to hell.
do you miss do you miss working at Kmart?
No, I left in 1999. I had 10 years and I had enough of retail, but the company itself was good though. I mean, I worked a lot of hours, and when you work in retail at the store level, you put a hell of a lot of hours in. It's like a 48-hour week, plus you're going to be driving long distances because you never have a store that's close to your house. It's always far. It just always works out that way. But when you're young and you're in your 20s, it was great money, great responsibility.
Yeah,
So, all right.
you got the smell of Little Caesars pizza, the smell of the Astro store itself.
Yeah.
Just it's just like I don't know. A lot of people say that in those dying days it was not that good, but if I was old enough to work when Kmart was still alive, I probably would have worked there just to see how it would have been like. It probably would have been another crappy retail job to me, but being there would have probably been a experience to be like, I work at Kmart.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that worked at Kmart too. Even some of my friends have worked there part time, and I started off part time. It was my high school job. I was going to school and stayed with them through college, and then went into the management program. But then it was late '90s. I'm like, I think I've had enough, so I went into technology and went back to school. So
the I actually remember the very last thing I ever bought at a Kmart, and I still have it. Um, it's in my closet, but there's in my closet when I moved into this house, like in 2017. Which funny, I'll tell you about the whole, uh, what you call it? I'll tell you my whole story about Kmart about a Kmart by my house after I tell you this. But in my closet, when I moved in this house, there wasn't a light bulb in my closet for some
mhm.
reason, and when I went to the very last Kmart, which is not that far away from where I live, um, I bought a green light bulb there, just a random green light
Okay,
bulb that they usually would put outside for Christmas, and
yeah.
I took it, I put it in my closet, and that's my light for my closet. It's a green light bulb from Kmart.
Nice. Well, you got a little Kmart with you. Every time you turn the light on, you can think of a blue light special, even though it's a green. It's a green light special.
Yeah, there you go. But what I also wanted to tell you though, on top of that, it's that so I used to live in Schaumburg, like not even that. Like I used to live in
Mhm.
Schaumburg, not that even far away from where I live now. But down the street and around the corner, there used to be a Kmart over there by Stratford Mall. You
Yep,
know
I
the one I'm
remember.
talking. Yeah, I went to that one in its dying days, like when it was like literally on its last legs, and me and my parents went there, and that's where I found like the green light bulb, and I bought like this aerial that lights up for like for what any reason but Kmart.
Well, there were Kmarts everywhere. There were probably
Yeah,
25 locations in the suburbs. Every town had them. Naperville had two. Bolingbrook had one. Lombard had one. Carroll Stream had one. Schaumburg had one. Elk Grove Village had a Super K. North Aurora had a Kmart. Aurora had a Kmart. Joliet had a Kmart.
I
Downers Grove had a Kmart. Willowbrook had a Kmart.
you know all the Kmart's, don't
Forest
you?
Park had a Kmart. Chicago had four Kmarts. The city of itself. They were everywhere. Yeah. So you started going when they were closing. They consolidated, they died out, and then it all went to hell after 2002. That's well,
No,
you're
the
born in
Kmart's.
03. You're by the way, you're born in '93, so you were young. Yeah.
Yeah, the Kmart. No, the Kmart's I had the most experience with. I'm going to is that probably is Crystal Lake displays for sure. That's the one I've been to probably the most. Um, there's honestly probably one in Mount Prospect. Probably been that
There
one if
probably
there
was.
was.
If not, there would have been one right near there. There was one in Arlington Heights.
Maybe that one. Probably been to that one. And where Kmart's and then the one down over here. Then those are probably the only Kmart's I've really been to that I had most memories of going to. probably.
Well, they were everywhere, and I mean, big company did really well, but just couldn't keep up with Walmart and the competition, so they suffered.
What So I mean, like I know that we've been talking about Kmart. And we probably dragged that out probably so much that people already know about. But what? So at the time when you were working at Kmart, right? Um, what was your thoughts on Target and Walmart at that time? Because at that time, Walmart and Target were making the uprise, and they were
Yeah.
and
So I was,
all three
you
of you
know,
were on the same level.
I was like 16, 17, right? My mind was more about heavy metal music, and I was in school and such, at high school. At the time that Walmart and Target were starting to emerge, we didn't really know what they were like because there were no Walmarts in Chicagoland. There were no Targets in Chicagoland. Nobody really knew what to expect here. All I know is once Walmart hit, it was a complete game changer because Target wasn't for like another 5 or 6 years. I don't think Target was till a number of years after. But initially, um, Walmart was the first, and I will tell you, when Walmart came in, it completely changed the whole dynamic of our store. The pricing, everything. It's like it completely turned us upside down. And we were wondering why Kmart didn't know this because there had to have been other markets. I'm just going to make it up in New York or California or Texas or Minneapolis. There had to have been markets that already had Walmart and Kmart because Kmart was everywhere. Walmart was in certain parts of the US. But when they came to Chicago, it's like we were unprepared. And I think that's how the whole company was. It's like we just couldn't keep up with pricing. And that's when people started shopping elsewhere. And then Target came, which is just a completely different customer base. A little more higher end, but it's still discount retail. But the same types of problems didn't happen at Target and Walmart that happened with Kmart. Kmart always had higher prices. Kmart was always out of stock. You'd go in there for an ad item and didn't have enough to take care of everyone. And all the Christmas, Black Friday specials, there were only a couple of each. It was really like kind of bad, whereas the competition did better. So there were just a lot of different things. But at the time, didn't even really feel it coming, even though we knew that Walmart was coming to town. And that was the Walmart on Route 59 and Ogden Avenue in Naperville, on the west side of Naperville. Because I worked at Ogden Mall at Naper Boulevard and Ogden Avenue at the time.
Yeah, because Kmart was the very first store, obviously, that brought the good old concept of layaway,
Yep.
which now everyone
Layaway
uses.
and yeah, a lot of concepts. There was a lot of firsts, gift certificates, um, specials like the blue light special, and I mean there were a lot of good things. Kmart did a lot. There's a pretty good following. You won't find too many people that don't have fond memories of Kmart, especially the generation older than me. They think of what it was like in the 1960s and in the 70s because Kmart was kind of a big deal. You'd go take the family to Kmart, you'd go to the snack counter, or you get a soda. I mean, things were different than Little Caesars Pizza,
Mm-hmm.
which is what a lot of us saw. But yeah, different.
See, was Ogden Mall in Naperville like an actual mall, or was it just a strip mall with a
It
Kmart?
was a strip mall, and there was a theater there. There was a Dominic's there. It was a strip mall. Now it's a Costco.
Oh, Dominic's.
Yeah, Dominic's,
Like
Walgreens. Yeah, and then there was like 20 little strip mall stores, a Radio Shack, all sorts of stores that no longer exist today.
yeah, like yes, Dominic's. What the kids definitely go to these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss Dominic's. Dominic's was that alternative to Jewel, if you don't mind, like pay those high
Yep.
prices, but no.
I like Dominic's, but yeah, they changed because they were bought out by Mariano's,
Mm-hmm.
and then Mariano's was bought by Kroger. So the Marianos that are still around are changing to Kroger branded stuff, and Prices aren't coming down. All these companies do is they scoop and they buy them up, just like Kmart and Sears merged, but that never actually ends up really helping the customer or anybody in the end. It usually crashes and burns, or they get bought by someone else, or they don't really end up passing the savings along to the customer.
So, Christmas around the corner, right?
Yeah.
I asked you about that. What you got going on? What are you doing for the holidays this year?
We have family. We'll be seeing family in town here. And then my in-laws are on the northwest side of Chicago, so we'll go visit them. But my kids are excited, and we have gifts and things all lined up. But yeah, no, just taking it easy. Get some time off from work right now, and it'll be good.
But you should for a gag gift one year or this year you should get like a blue light bulb, wrap it up, put it in a gift, give it to someone, and be like, hey, got you the blue light special.
Yeah. What I could do is I could take one of these tapes, wrap it up, and say, here you go. Of course, I'd have to diminish my collection, but I've always wondered what people would think if I sold them or did something with them other than just hoard them. But yeah, no, I could give a light bulb and say, here's a blue light special, or yeah, here's some Kmart memorabilia, because I have a tote of that too.
Yeah, I heard. Do you have do you have like old signage and all that stuff? Do you have stuff that lights up?
No, nothing big, but I've got like a tote full of like tchotchkes and a coffee cup, pay stubs, some different materials, some ads, some things from the era that came from Kmart. I mean, I guess the smocks I wore, the shirts I wore that were Kmart branded, all of that was. I have all that.
Do you at least have from the video, because I saw a video on your YouTube channel. I don't know if that was just a picture you found on the internet or if you actually have one. But do you actually have one of those Kmart signs you used to just hang up on the wall and it was just the K logo?
No, I have a little Kmart, but not the big one. I have a little Kmart one, and that was in one of my montages of memorabilia. But no, nothing that's big.
Oh, so you have the small one?
Yeah, it's like the size of it's like 4 inches by 4 inches. It's not big.
Man,
And that was from like an end cap or like a promotion. But the one on the wall, that stuff looks kind of like small on the wall maybe, but the Kmart from the wall would be about this big, the K. And a K that would be on the building would be probably from the floor to about 10 feet up. So people are like, oh yeah, I'll just get the Kmart sign from outside. It'll fill your entire basement. Then you got to power it.
Man,
if you hook it up.
You probably wouldn't sell it to me, but I love that little Kmart sign.
You know what? I don't know what I'm going to end up doing with all this stuff. I don't know. I'm holding on to it. I have never been one of those people to make a profit. But, the real question is, what do I do with these tapes? I mean, I was thinking about throwing one up on eBay and just see what it fetches.
I mean, why not keep them? I mean, you have something that no one else has. I mean,
yeah, no, it is very unique. But my note to my kids though is, just make sure this stuff doesn't get thrown into the trash someday. But I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Same thing with the memorabilia. Interesting to note, I was filmed 3 months ago by a film company, and there may be a documentary on Kmart coming out. It depends if the film gets produced, if it gets into post-production, and then if Hulu and Netflix picks it up. But I had a good 4-hour interview with a film crew out of New York. And they've got a bunch of other people who would be in this film. So this is the first person I've mentioned that to. But I think we're probably a year or two away. But we'll see what happens.
Hey, look at you go.
And in the interview, I talked a little bit about just that too. Is what do we do with this stuff? How do we preserve it?
Yeah. Hey, look at you go. You're freaking. You're a freaking star, dude.
Well,
look at you.
Well, we'll see. I'll tell you. If I search my name on the internet, it's like in Kmart, it comes up all over. everywhere on YouTube. It's on TikTok. I'm on all the social medias. I'm on all of them, and the whole Kmart cassettes thing is everywhere. A lot of news sources, but we'll see if the documentary comes out. And the documentary is not about the tapes; it's about Kmart and more of a retrospect, a nostalgia view of what Kmart used to be. The tapes are just a part of that, as well as all the other knowledge I talked about from working for them for 10 years. But we'll see what happens. Who knows, you know?
Maybe you'll be the one that saves the company and you'll bring it back.
You know what? I had a theory, and this was in 2015 when Kmart, they weren't healthy, but they still had several hundred stores. They should have done a Super Bowl ad, and they should have done something funny with the tapes. Now, Super Bowl ads are expensive. It's $250,000 per second or for 15 seconds, whatever it costs. But I thought that their home office could really have leveraged the positivity on the Kmart cassettes and somehow incorporated that into one hell of an advertisement. But, you know, Kmart was already on their way out at that point.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just like really awesome to have this had to sit down and do this interview with you because like I've been like ever since I found out about that video about doing the Kmart when you were doing the Kmart cassettes and all that stuff that like I always wanted to like interview and stuff like this. So it's like I really think this is like a great time. I just want to we're coming up at 51 minutes, almost to an hour. So I think it's a good old time to start doing the closeouts. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
almost an hour.
yeah. No, I tell you, Stephen, I have really appreciated being on your podcast, and it's been a while since I've been on one of these. I love talking about retail. I like telling my story. I'm kind of an extrovert, so I'm kind of an open book on this stuff. But you know, I think preserving Kmart for what it was. I was a big part of it for 10 years. I have a huge collection of cassettes, which they mean a lot to me because it's a collection, but they also mean a lot to people out there. And as you mentioned, you saw the video, and you're one of many of hundreds of thousands of viewers that saw that video. And again, everyone has been positive for the most part, saying, you know, that's really cool, or that's really weird, but it's in such a weird, cool way. Not like, oh my God, this guy's nuts, but it's like, wow, that's actually kind of interesting. It's a whole music or a whole genre of audio nobody ever would have even have thought ever existed again. But it's really cool talking to you and branching off into different things because, you know, and then, you know, we can talk again. We can meet up and touch base and talk about this and more.
Yeah, because I would love to do an interview in person because it's definitely possible.
Sure.
That'd be like a great thing
Yeah, no, we can do
to
that.
do, you know.
Yeah, no, we can do face to face. That'd be cool. Um, but yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity just to talk to you and meet you, and I appreciate your interest. Um, Again, I don't hear a lot of negativity, but one of these days, someone's is gonna reach out and be a complete ass or a dickhead. But it's like you were actually really cool and you showed interest about it, and that's how pretty much everybody else has been. And it's just like I like to talk to those people because we share a common interest.
Yeah, because I wanted to have told you to come on here and interview if I was like, I totally hate these tapes. I totally want to disregard these tapes and talk to you about anything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me promote my social, and then I'll
Sure.
let you do your thing. Thank you everyone for watching this episode of Catching Up with the Vampire with Lycidas Heathcliffe, but with Steven this time because my air persona MP here. You can find everything on Bloodbat Workshop, where you can find all my poetry stuff. Where I write all my poetry, you can go see that. I have commissions open still. I've been having them open, but no one's been commissioning me, so you can go check that out. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on X. Those are the two main things I'm on. You can go check that out. My Poetic side, it's all in the graphic down below. You can go see me on that. And yeah, how about you? Where can we go see you?
So youtube.com/DavisMV. Davis MV is my channel. You'll see a lot of videos there, a lot of different recordings, a lot of things about electronics, some stuff about Kmart, oddball set of videos and things that I upload. I'm also on I'm on Facebook. I'm also on X as well. Don't really communicate much on X. I'm more of like a lurker. I'm on there quite regularly, but on Facebook you'll find me, Mark Davis. But yeah, hit me up with a message if you see there, or make a comment on one of my videos. I do read almost every comment, and any type of inquiries where people want information or that type of thing, I do respond back. So, and that's Steven. Somehow you found me. I don't remember where, but it was probably a reach out where you said, "Hey, I got a question for you," and I'm like, "Yeah, let's talk."
Yeah, I contacted you on YouTube.
Yeah, you too, and I responded in the comments. So, but yeah, no, you see my videos out there, and again, I'm on Facebook as well, and I do have a Snapchat, I have Instagram, all those. I have every social media, but I'm just not very active on them. I'm not active. Facebook is like the old people's social media, and I'm still on that. But all my friends are old.
Probably Blue Sky is probably your next social media.
Yeah, I actually just downloaded Blue Sky, and I just got a username. It's probably Davis MV. Because again, what I do is every time something comes up, it's davismv.bsky.social, and I have no followers.
Well, because it's brand new.
Yeah. But I did that. Anytime I hear something new, I want to get the Davis MV so it's consistent amongst everything I have. But I'm on there as well. Hit me up.
Last question before I let you go. Is Davis MV, well, Davis is obviously your first name, but is the MV like your middle initial and your last initial?
Mark Victor V. MV.
That's cool. Love that.
That's me. I do MV Davis, but MV Davis is already taken everywhere, so I have to go Davis MV, and even that's taken everywhere. But if I can sign up for these things right when I hear about them, like there's that No Place. It's total younger generation, but is it No Place or No Space? I did that too. I'm like, I'm gonna sign up.
MySpace.
It's called No Place. It's a new one.
Oh,
and it's like I don't think I would ever. I don't even know if I really have a. I don't even think I have a place. It's called No Place, and it's another social media. And I signed up for that. I'm like, why not? Because there might be a day that this becomes popular. Yeah, it's Davis MV. It's called No Place. I'm like, I'll go ahead and sign up because maybe this will be the next big thing, and I want to have a nice username so I don't have to have a number of Davis MV 1121315. Or something like that.
I gotta check. I didn't even know that existed, so I gotta check that out.
Oh well, I do cybersecurity, so I'm always looking into what social media is out there and different things. So I hear a little bit of everything, and when something pops up, I'll join it, regardless of whether it aligns with me socially, politically, age-wise, whatever. I'll be a part of it. I'll jump in.
Well, with that all being said, I want to thank you all for listening to the podcast, watching the podcast, whatever you're doing. And I hope all of you guys out there have a fantastic day. Have a good one.
Merry Christmas.
That too.